Hey, welcome to this episode of the Grounded Ascension Podcast, the Cosmic Reports. My name is Jennifer Kalsa-Schimmel. Thank you so much for joining me today, guys. And if you are new to me, I am an expert at helping you release your conditioning and step into your most authentic self. And I weave together human design, Enneagram, gene keys, and healing modalities to help you on that journey. So let's get started with today's report. Welcome to Gate 53 this week. We are moving through July 7th to the 12th, the gate of starting things, connected to our root center, our adrenal glands, the astrology of Cancer, right? The sign of Cancer, and the gene key, immaturity, expansion, superabundance. So what does all of that mean? Well, let's dive into that this week. Remember, if you are listening to these reports after the fact, that's amazing and great. You can use these reports to explore and connect to all the different gates, even if it's not during the transit, because we have all of the 64 gates in our design. Just some of us have it as a consistent, this is part of your unique journey. It'll be a consistent theme for you. And for others, it'll be a passing theme, right? So for those of you who this isn't a major part of your chart, be it your gene keys or a defined center, your planets, etc., you're going to have it as a passing theme. You're going to be experiencing it as the transit comes up, etc. Okay? So in Gate 53, we are still in that root center. This is why the adrenals, because this is a pressure center. It's going to be dealing with that pressure to go. And more specifically, not just go, but start things. Okay? So the big thing with this gate is this is not necessarily the energy of finishing. I want to make that clear. This gate is about the initiation. So for my people who are manifestors out there, you might be more familiar with this energy, whether or not this gate is activated. For my other types, this may be something that you're like, I don't know, right? You may have a different connection with what is it like to initiate and then trust that the universe will bring the people, situations, etc. to you to complete it in the perfect timing. And that can be really hard, I think, especially too for generator types who are used to just doing, or for people who have a lot of conditioning of, I have to be independent and I can't trust others, or I don't trust divine timing. So things like if your root center is undefined, that you don't really have that connection necessarily consistently until you really heal and work on it, of having that internal divine timing trust, right? This might trigger you. This transit might be a little like, okay. So what are we working with when we work through this transit? So our conditioning prompting. What is conditioning? Conditioning is all the beliefs and all the journaling and all the stuff that we need to release so that we can really come into harmony with this energy, okay? So I have a lot of people that have been like, what is conditioning, Jen? And I'm like, that's all the crap that you've taken on. That's not you, right? Those are often the beliefs that you've taken on, the behaviors you've taken on. They're not you, and they end up blocking you from flowing, from being you, right? So what can really, the blocks, right? I might start calling this block release work instead, really break that down. So these are your questions to ponder, okay, when working with Gate 53. How do I feel about delegating? So delegating, how do you feel about shifting the workload, right? Or passing the baton to someone else when you've started something, right? So great example is you had this amazing spark, this idea that came to you, and you started the work, and then somebody took over for you. How does that feel? Now, of course, we don't want, when it's malicious, like somebody tried to steal your stuff. That's a whole different ballgame. We're talking about genuinely somebody finishing, right? Delegating that task Also, how do you value your part of the puzzle? Do you value that just instigating, just starting, having that spark is as valuable as the person who finishes it? If not, this can be a really great week and a really great gate, if you're not doing it during the week, to sit with that. Why don't I value my part? I'll give you a hint. Most likely it's because society has told us that the end product is more important than all the rest of the steps. And so we put more value as a society, even though it's not true at all, on the end achievement, the one who finishes, the one who gets the quote recognition, right? And we don't have that honoring of all the steps, which is not useful at all, right? Because everybody is an important player, and each have their own strengths to bring to the table. So I want you to really sit with that. How do you feel? How comfortable are you with that? I will be honest, I struggle with that, especially as someone with ADHD. And I, for years now, have mused, I have pondered, I'll come up with all the words, on the connections of those who are neurodivergent, those who have versions of ADHD, and their connection to human design and all the different things, right? And how that shows up in your chart. And this is one of those things where I think this is very common for a lot of us with ADHD, that we have a lot of difficulty finishing tasks. And I'd be curious, if you do have ADHD, do you have this gate defined? Do you know? Reach out. Let me know. I'm just curious. This is my musing on life, right? I am very curious about this. Is this gate active for you? Are you an initiator and you have difficulty finishing it? Because this gate holds that. You probably will struggle with finishing things because that's not yours to do. Think about it. You need the energy of the initiation. And I'm doing a visual. You guys can't see it, but initiation in the root, all the way to the throat, right? The sacral of the energy of doing in the throat, where it expresses out into the world. And that's a really long way to go. So that takes a lot to get all the way up there. Now, some people have like a channel and they can initiate and speak, but I am curious about that for you guys. Let me know. So your affirmation for working with gate 53 is, I trust that my spark is guided by the universe and will unfold in perfect timing. Again, I trust that my spark is guided by the universe and will unfold in perfect timing. Now, of course, I always bring in Gene Key because that's how you then sit with it, right? You contemplate. That's how Gene Keys work, whereas human design is very more direct. I always say it's the divine masculine version of this information, and Gene Keys is like the divine feminine, where you sit and contemplate and let it unfold. Human design, you explore, you look, you connect, much more direct kind of energy. So in Gene Keys, the shadow is called immaturity. The gift is expansion, and the mastery is superabundance. Now, I have this in my Gene Keys as one of the main elements. This is where I flourish. And I've sat with this actually a lot. At first, I was always like, this is my money, right? I will be wealthy. But really what this gate is, right? Because I'm at my healthiest through this energy. And what it really works with instead is that you're comfortable with that creation, right? You are always creating, finding new things, right? But superabundance, this is where a lot of us, I think, we look at just the abundance in money forms. Maybe that's just me. I have a Chiron in Taurus, or I have a Chiron in the second house. So money wounds are a whole thing for me. But when we're working with this energy, it is superabundance, right? When we take it more from its expansion Gene Key approach, superabundance is that expansion in all aspects of our life, right? The joy and the initiation, and that overflowing in all aspects, that we find that peace in not just one area, right? So pause and muse on those for yourself. Like, are you finding balance in the different areas of your life? Are you hyper-focusing in one area? I do that a lot because real talk, right? For me, I struggle finding, valuing myself in my work, in my business, because I am a quote, non-traditional business owner. I've also, because of my design, because of my journey, and I could do a whole podcast on that. If you guys ever want to hear that story where I break it all down, I will be happy to do that. But because of my, how my journey is set up, I do shift a lot. I always have my core theme has never changed, but how it shows up in the world as the collective moves, as I move, as I grow, it changes, right? Which it doesn't then look like a traditional linear success story, right? I also have 2 small kids, and that's part of my journey as well. My husband, has a very intense job. So there's a lot of elements in life. And so I have always struggled with this theme, right? And what does that mean to be super abundant? Or what does that mean to not hyper focus, but to really, because when I hyper focus, I don't do well. I do it, that immaturity, that it becomes a narrow view. I don't value my input, my initiation into things, my creation, because, quote, I'm not finishing. I have passed the baton on very quickly on certain topics and certain things. Like, I'll do them, they'll do well. And then I always said I was like one step ahead of a lot of people, always growing up, right? That's how this energy can feel, that, I initiated and then I moved on. Well, then the rest of the world catches up, finishes, completes the task, takes it on, right? But I'm already initiating something else. And so it can also feel sometimes very lonely if we're not at peace, right? Because there wasn't the, quote, recognition and value that I didn't place on myself for what I was contributing. So those are from my own personal experience, because I have this as a major player in my journey for you guys. How finding that peace. And I am starting to really work more with that, especially as I come to terms with the fact that I'm called to help, especially women entrepreneurs. And I really do believe that every woman in her own way is an entrepreneur. I really do. We all have, whether it's owning your own business or working in a traditional professional setting, all of these things matter and apply. You need to have your own, be living through your own design and bringing your own unique medicine to the world. And that's going to look different. And if everybody did that, whether it was running your own small business or working for a large company, if we all did it following our own unique design and how we showed up into the world would be such an amazing place to be in, right? As we all have so much value that we bring to this world. We wouldn't be here, right? We wouldn't be here if we didn't have our own unique sparkle that was begging to be shared with the world. So on those tangents, that is the Gate 53 transit, the information for Gate 53. So as always, we are going to actually use the Sacred Soul Alignment that came for this gate, which I went back and forth a bunch, because the one that just really pulled at me, I was like, on paper, that doesn't look like it works. But I think it really does. I really do. So it is the Sacred Soul Alignment, procrastination. And y'all bear with me. I'm a little over caffeinated today. So if this episode is a little all over the place, it's because I was up all night with 2 sick children. I needed to record this episode to get it out in time. But the reason I picked this alignment, procrastination, is because often when we don't value our our spark, our initiation, right? What we bring to the table, we then won't even share it. We won't even start, because what is the purpose, right? That's often what for myself, is like, why do I even start and I'll come up with if nobody's going to notice anyway, if, I'm not going to, somebody's going to take it and run with it anyway, right? That's what, if blah, blah, blah. So why do I even start? Why do we even bother? So really trusting and listening when it's the right time to start and share, I think is really important. And this alignment helps to really clear the beliefs and emotions, as well as oath, vows, and contracts that are at the root of procrastination, right? So those beliefs right there, this is going to really start helping to work with that. Helps to also bring in the motivation, inspiration, and your authentic self-worth, right? That worth again. So you really understand and embody the truth that you are worthy, right? You are worthy. Okay, so that's what came forward for this gate and working with this gate. So take a deep breath here, hands on your heart. Just slow, deep inhale and exhale. In through your nose, seeing if you can breathe through your heart, just opening your mind and accepting this energy. And in divine love and light, calling in the sacred soul alignment, procrastination now for you listening today. Creator, change it. Just allowing that energy to come in, washing through you. Okay, and you can sit in this energy as long as you would like, but I'm going to anchor it in now, anchoring it into your heart, your mind, and the 12-dimensional grid system now. Creator, change it. Akashic, change it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It is done, it is done, it is done. Take a deep breath in one more time and exhale. Thank you guys for listening to this episode. And remember, if you are needing help starting on that journey or looking for that first step, you can always go to my bio in Instagram or wherever I am on social media. I am Jennifer Kalsa Schimmel, and I have a 3 free-day course which helps you start with this belief work, helps you start breaking down your human design and really owning and connecting to your own sparkle. So make sure to check that out. If you don't follow me on social media, come on over. I do lots of really cool stuff over there. And I can't wait to see you guys. Make sure you subscribe. If you haven't already, wherever you get this podcast, there is a new episode every Friday. And click that little subscribe button so you get notified and you can check out all of the episodes. I'll see you next time.